So, have you heard that saying, two ears, one mouth? We should listen twice as much as we speak. You ever heard that? It's from Epictetus, at least it's credited to him, a first century Greek philosopher. And it's just as relevant, I think, today as it was 2,000 years ago. Now, today is Fortune Cookie Sunday. You may not have known you were getting into that when you got up this morning, but here we are. We do this periodically over the years as I've been in Chinese restaurants and the fortune cookies come at the end. I frequently thought, wow, there's a great science of mind message in that. And some of them made it into my idea book that we've been talking about all month. And so we've done this once before where we crack open the cookies, we pull out the fortune, and then I tell you whatever comes through my mind from spirit. So we're going to play with that this morning. It will be interesting. But as I was preparing as best I could for this without opening the cookies and cheating, um, I kept hearing the word listen, listen. And so I went to the resource, the Science of Mind, and looked up what Ernest Holmes says about listen. And he had a lot to say, as he had a lot to say about everything. And I wanted to share with you some of the insights that I found. He says, for manifesting our good, he says, to become conscious of the good we wish to manifest, we must be open and receptive. We already have within us the wisdom that knows. We must consciously tune into it and listen. For instance, real power in our life. And never listen to what you are saying, but to what you are listening to. And finally, he wrote this one just for me this morning. Whatever is needed, let it be fulfilled. Let it be fulfilled. So, two ears, one mouth. May we listen this morning to what emerges from spirit. Are you ready? Ready. All right. Got a basket of cookies here from my favorite Chinese restaurant. They're very kind to support us here. You're doing another one of those talks, aren't you, lady? All right. So the first one is it's a little dated, but it's okay. Your July journey will lead to self discovery. Your July journey will lead to self discovery. We can replace July with any month, right? We can recognize that anytime, any journey can lead us to greater and greater self discovery because self discovery is what? It's discovering who we are, how we are, and anytime, we can choose that at any time. You can choose it right now, this morning. What is this, August 31st? You can choose it now. You can choose it tomorrow. All right. What else we have? That's how the cookie crumbles. Would you like to learn Chinese words also? Never mind. Ah, a meaningful conversation with your close friend will inspire you. Anybody ever had that happen? A meaningful conversation with a close friend will inspire you. I see Lori getting notebooks. That we have notebooks back there if you want to write anything down. Thank you, Lori. Um, so conversations, messages, listening, that's really what we're talking about today. So this one is I didn't put it in there. It's perfect though, because we can listen to things on the outside, right? We hear a lot of things on the outside. And sometimes those messages on the outside are people who have been inspired and listened to their intuition to share something with us. And sometimes it's not. But our listening to it helps us to understand through our own intuition whether or not it's for us. We feel a resonance when we have those meaningful conversations. And so we can receive our messages from any place. But it always comes down to your recognizing within yourself that connection between what you're hearing and what you're feeling in your heart. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but me, I can always make things fit what I want them to fit. Oh, yeah, that's my inspiration. That's a sign. I should do that. And maybe it didn't turn out to be the best thing for me. So it's important that we have that head to heart connection so that when we receive these meaningful conversations or messages, that our listening ears are those that are tuned into our heart and can truly hear that message and understand it for what it means to us in reality. All right. Anybody familiar with Kenny Rogers? Know when to hold on and when to let go. Is that true? Yeah. Know when to, I'm going to say Kenny's words, I know when to hold on and when to let go. It is so important, particularly when we're making large decisions in our lives, to figure out when to stay the course, when to keep on keeping on, and when it's time to not, when it's time to let go, when it's time to move on. And that's a very scary time typically in our lives because it can feel like it's a chasm that we've got to cross. It can feel like we're cutting off and leaving everything we've known. And it can feel like a great adventure, and it can be terrifying. I know we've all had that experience. So, knowing when to hold on and when to let go, my method for that is a lot of inner reflection, a lot of meditation time, a lot of self reflection, self discovery, like we talked about, because we don't want to make willy nilly decisions in our lives. We want to make them thoughtfully, with compassion, with love, and, weighing options perhaps if that's a way. But really, like our Ernest said in the listening quotes this morning, we have that knowledge and wisdom within us already about what to do, when to hold on and when to let go. We have that. We just need to be willing to get in touch with it. We need to be willing to get in touch with it, to go into the stillness, go into the silence, to listen for the quietness within us that reveals to us that clear direction, that builds the bridge across the chasm for us to walk over. Like, was it the Indiana Jones movie where he was after the Grail, and he was on the cliff and there was no bridge, but he was told to cross it, cross it, cross it. And he threw some dust and he could see the bridge was there. It was just invisible to him. And so when we get in touch with that within ourselves and know that truth, that bridge will appear for us. I feel like I just stop and ask if there's questions. It's almost like this could be a conversation. Y'all want to have a conversation? But if anybody has a question or has a comment, just raise your hand. How about that? Okay, we'll do that. So far, so good. All right. I like both sides. The fortune says little acorns lead to mighty oaks. Now, in Science of Mind, you probably have heard us teach the creative process. The creative process is the idea, the divine inspiration into the law and the manifestation, or the seed planted into the soil and then manifests the plant. And little acorns lead to mighty oaks. And that's very true. We have a seed of thought, an idea, an inspiration, an intuition of some sort. And that creation starts to flow. I was sharing with Jim this morning because he shared with us about his creative downloads that he's been having for the past several months. And I've had a period of that here recently as well. And it's sets us on fire when that happens. I mean, it really does. And it just keeps flowing and there's so much, and it feels like I was driving in this morning, it was like I have so much I want to do, so many things I want to do related to the center. And I need to take a week of vacation to do it. So but it's very exciting when those little bitty acorns and seeds, if you've ever been out in nature and seen those little acorns and you look up at the tree, and if you've seen a little bitty baby and then you look at ourselves and we're these grown adults now. We grew up from that. So planting seeds in our consciousness and in our awareness and allowing them to be nurtured and to grow into that manifestation, that mighty oak in our life. That's ours to do. That is the creative process. And that's a lot of fun when we accept that and nurture it by paying attention to it, staying focused on it. Oh, I was going to do the other side of that one. It was fun. It says, don't miss out on your chance to win big. Don't miss out on your chance to win big. I'll give you these lucky numbers if anybody's a numbers person. Yeah, 52, 36, 3, 49, 14, 15. There you go. There's your lucky numbers. Everybody can win. Anybody win last night? Yeah, wasn't it drawn? Was it last night? Oh, wow. So it is. All right. Learn to negotiate effectively. Learn to negotiate effectively. What is effective negotiation? Is negotiation a competition on who's a better negotiator and who's going to win? Learn to negotiate effectively. We talk about competition, and competition has us thinking that there's one pie, so to speak, and that I've got to get mine before everybody else gets theirs. There's not going to be enough. There's not going to be enough. I've got to get mine. And that's just not true because our source of all good is unlimited. And so therefore the pie is unlimited. So everybody can have theirs and I can have mine and we'll all have enough and there'll be some left over. You know, it's the old fishes and loaves story. There'll be some left over. So learning to negotiate effectively for me would be win-win because spirit is one. We're all one in spirit. So all negotiations are negotiations with ourselves. It's like the story of the little boys, the two little brothers, I think they were twins, and it was their birthday, and there was one piece of cake left over, and they wanted it. And the dad said, "You cut it, and you get to pick first." Well, they practically got out a tape measure to make sure they were exactly even because one had to cut and one got to choose. And if one was bigger, he'd get the bigger slice. So that's what we think of as win-win in our negotiations. How can I benefit everybody? And a lot of times that requires finding a third or fourth way. It's not just my way and your way. There's got to be another way. There's got to be a better way, a win-win way that we can all be benefited by. So for me, that would be how we can more effectively negotiate in our lives. I see some nods. Any thoughts on that? All right. A lot of broken cookies up here. Mm. Anybody like surprises? Mm. Okay, yes and no's. Yeah, it depends on the surprise, right? Well, this is be open to the surprises that life has in store. So, sometimes when we are doing our prayer work and then it shows up, we're surprised. Oh my gosh. Why? If we're doing our prayer work and we're convinced that it works, why would we be surprised? Why would we be surprised? So be open to the surprises that life has to store. What was it, a couple weeks ago? We were talking about Ernest Holmes' um, line about, "Am I willing? Are you willing to receive the consequences of your thinking? Are you willing to receive the consequences of your thinking?" And I think that's an important part of our prayer work is to know that we're ready for whatever we're praying for, and that it's not going to be a surprise. It's a surprise when it doesn't show up, right? It's like, wait a minute, I've been doing my work and my affirmations and my prayers around this. I, what happened? I mean, that should be our surprise, not when it actually shows up. So being open to being expectant, we talk about expectation and being expectant of our good coming to us and showing up, looking for it, expecting it to show up, expecting it to arrive every day. It's kind of like the Amazon package, right? I placed my order, I open my door. Where is it? Where is it? I'm expecting it. And when we can get that level of conviction and confidence in our prayer work and our affirmation work, we know that we then are living in the place of what we're praying for. We're living from that. In other words, we're believing it strong enough. I had a funny conversation in my head this week. Um, I was looking at some financial things, and I got a little panicked because the plan that I had was here, but it wasn't working out that way in reality. And I got a little frustrated, and then I started, oh, you can't spend there, you can't spend this, you can't do that, you can't go here, you can't. And as I was getting ready to leave this morning, I went, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, totally off principle, totally in the wrong mindset. And so I brought everything back around to no, I'm completely abundant. This is just a little, my way didn't work, but this way's it's going to be fine. Oh my gosh. Worry, worry, crazy, crazy, knock it off. And so, my little mantra on the way in this morning was I'm abundant. I'm completely and totally abundant. I know I'm completely and totally abundant. And I've had that show up several ways already this morning. So I am blessed. And we have that power to change our thinking, to change our lives almost instantaneously. Almost instantaneously. So when you catch yourself spiraling and thinking the negative thoughts and the ones that aren't serving what you're treating for, praying about, or trying to create and call forward in your life, catch yourself and turn them around. turn them around quickly because it's about what we believe. It's about what we believe. Right. All right, this one is excellence is the difference between what you do and what you're capable of. What you do and what you're capable of. Do you always, 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 always do your very, very best? Or are there times it's just easier to not? It's just easier to cut a corner. It's just easier to be quiet in that conversation rather than offering your love, your compassion, your peace. It's easier to ignore that person carrying something big and bulky and heavy and needing assistance than walking across the parking lot in the 117 degrees to help them. Do we always do exactly what we're capable of? Because we have really big hearts. We have very, very intelligent minds, and we're all connected as one. Do we always do what we're capable of? You have something? All right. Okay.
So I liken it to driving a high performance car and you have X amount of horsepower and you're only using a part of that. And you can go all the way, but it uses up a lot of fuel, may get you into trouble. But if you don't need to go all the way to accomplish what you can accomplish, that's okay. But it's nice to be able to push yourself more if called upon to do that. That's what I look at it like, and it's not either good or bad. It's just how we choose to run our lives.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's a great example with the high performance vehicle because, like you say, you could get in trouble if you give it all it's got. So, yeah. Where else in life? Oh, yes.
I guess this topic brings up perfectionism. And if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. And I think it's important to show up and just be present
Mm-hmm.
rather than doing anything, because sometimes that's all that's
Mm-hmm.
required.
It is. Sometimes just holding space with someone is so much more than enough because speaking or trying to fix can be more harmful, but holding space is hard because most of us aren't wired for that. Most of us want to help, comment, talk, fix, share our own story. Yeah. So that's a very good point. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I look at this and I appreciate you saying perfectionism, but and I what I got when I first read that was this idea of willingness to do all that we can, not from a standpoint of I have to be perfect at the doing, but just doing what I can. And I think there's so many opportunities in our world today for us to shine our light in places that need it. And it's easier not to sometimes. It's easier to not take on that conversation, take the time for it. So that's how I was looking at it. But thank you for bringing up perfectionism. Anybody else? Yes, Beverly.
Well, here's a good one for you. She mentioned perfection, and the thought that just came to me is, what about adequacy? Sometimes we're adequate, we have the capacity for adequacy, and sometimes we just don't. And the instance that come to my mind is when I got out of the hospital last September, and I had leg in a brace and a walker. And luckily, my brother came to stay with me, and so he could take me out to dinner or shopping or whatever, errands, doctors, whatever. But within 48 hours, the first 48 hours of going out and about and people asking, oh, what happened? And I would tell them, well, I just had a brain tumor removed. And it was very interesting because many people couldn't handle that. It scared the mud out of them. They were so shocked. They were so terrified. I could see it in their eyes. They did not have the adequacy to hold space.
Mm-hmm.
So this topic was, above your capacity to excellence, but sometimes adequacy is important too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the excellence, is just adequacy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? All right.
So for me, the difference between the do and being capable of is I'm learning to not have insistence on the outcome. And as somebody who's very left brain, that's very difficult. And so that's the do part. But what I've learned is that my spirit, God, is more capable of things that I can't think of. And so that makes me more capable. So I'm starting to learn how to let go and not be insistent on the outcome because it could be far, far better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. Very true. Thank you. Very, very true. Right. Anything else on excellence is the difference between what you do and what you are capable of doing. We're capable of so much more than we even know. I mean, science tells us that. What, we use 10% of our brain? We are very capable. We just don't tap into it. Hello. All right. All right. I'm going to interpret this one. It says, step away from the power position for one day. And what I'm seeing on this page is ego. Step away from being in the power position and controlling everything and everybody and all that's happening in every little situation, and stand down. We're not the police of the universe. We can stand down. Mm-hmm. Step away from the power position for one day. It's so easy to get caught up in that idea of I have to micromanage every component and aspect of my life, my family's life, my business associates' life. And am I speaking to anybody in this room besides myself? No, not kidding. But we can get caught up in that. And I think this is suggesting to us that we allow ourselves to step down from that. But I would say step into the other power that we have, which is the infinite power within us. As Holmes was saying in his quotes this morning, the creative power that is within us is our true power, not our ego power. And from that, we have intelligence that flows through us. We have inspiration that flows through us. We have ideas that flow through us. And we trust our intuition to help and assist us in that knowing. So step away from the power. One day. Anybody has anything, just raise your hand. We're having an open dialogue this morning. And right on the heels of that one, stay open to the value of constructive criticism. Is there such a thing? Um, Interesting. Constructive criticism. Is that an oxymoron? So I think what our message is in this: stay open to the value of constructive criticism. It comes back to listening. We're full circle again on listening, and listen to whatever is coming to us and interpret it from the place that it is given. If it is truly constructive criticism, someone thinks enough about us to take the time to formulate their comments to not be painful like criticism, but to hopefully be more loving and kind and constructive, something that we can take in rather than resist, making them wrong for having noticed that within us, and taking that within and seeing where that is me. A lot of times we talk about that. If we see something on the outside world that's being reflected back to us that we don't like, life is a mirror. We need to look within us and say, where is that me? Where is that in me? Where is that happening within me? Where have I treated someone that way or said those things or believed or thought those things? And so that constructive criticism, being open to it in the theme or flavor of which it is given, and assume it's given in love. Just assume it's given in love and listen. And then see what happens with it within you when you've spent some time with it. And if it is truly of benefit to you, go back to that person in gratitude and thank them for having the courage, taking the time to speak with you and give you those insights. And even if you want to go further based on that, I've made these changes in my life. Dang. It's my job.
So this reminds me of the gentleman by the name of Marshall Rosenberg with nonviolent communication. Remember him?
Yes.
And there's a way to communicate with each other that doesn't blame. It's really about blaming, not blaming someone else. So coming without the ego and just sharing feedback in a loving manner,
Mm-hmm.
and assuming the other person can hear it that way.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what that reminds me of.
Yes.
Wouldn't that really? Yeah, he was wonder. I don't know if he's still around. I assume not because he's pretty old at that time when he was doing the workshops. But yeah, and
Yeah.
he stayed at our house for a little while.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I read his. All right. Another one with a month thing going on. It says your health will improve in April. April. I'm just going to cut that short and say your health will improve because you're already whole, perfect, and complete. And when we accept that, our health can improve. When we live from that place that we are whole, perfect, and complete, our health will improve. When we stop complaining and talking about our ailments, our health will improve because we are whole, perfect, and complete beings. Do we want to keep going on health? Everybody feeling good and healthy this morning? Yeah? All right. See if I have another one in here. I do. I do a whole talk on health, but we're not going to do that this morning. Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. And it'll all improve in April. Absolutely. But who's to say it didn't all get improved last April, right? It's already done. And so it is. It sounds like Emerson. The person who waits to do a great deal of good all at once will never do anything. That's like Emerson. So what are they telling us here? They're telling us that we should do our good in the moment every day and to not wait and I'll do it next week, procrastinate. I'll do it all at once. I'll make a bigger splash. But to do it every day, not to do it all at once sometime in the future. And I'm going to suggest that not only doing good, but doing anything. Doing anything. When we start hoarding our ideas and our thoughts and so forth and waiting to release them, that's our gifts and talents. That's our inspiration from above, from spirit, from within. That's our intuition. That's the creative process wanting to have its way through us. And we're hoarding and saying, no, 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 or that's not mine, not yet, rather than moving forward with it. And I think this is reminding us that when we get our creative ideas, go for it. Go for it. Move forward on it. Take action. Yes? All right. Well, my friends, the cookies have crumbled. Anybody have anything they want to add before I pray? And Lori does. Right. You've been hoarding your thoughts. Let them go. Let them go.
So I had something to say about the first one that you did, but I didn't know we were sharing in the process.
Well, I kind of started midway.
So anyway, I wanted to say that I really appreciate what Lori said. And it's very much in keeping with a great traditional yoga teaching, which is act for action's sake and surrender the results, which of course is part of our spiritual teachings here. And this morning I had a thought about how I just discovered this farm in Mesa. And I discovered it through a guy, through a thing, through this, through that. Anyway, ultimately, from traveling halfway around the world, I went to Italy and France this summer earlier and just marveled and enjoyed so much the quality of the food. And so ever since I got back, I've been looking for such things and finding them. And they've been here, and I just didn't know, and I didn't know to look for them. And so I didn't know that going on that trip, it's not why I went on the trip, but that I just went on the trip. And then I'm discovering new people and new resources, and it's just cool. And it was something about the first one that you did, what was it? The journey of now leads to self-discovery or something, the first one that you said. And so it was like just doing something that you have the impetus to do, even though you don't know, like, oh, this is going to be beneficial in so many ways. Like, I just want to do it, and following that impulse and acting for action's sake without really knowing, then I have all these new people and new friends and new resources and yummy food.
Yeah, we can get stuck in the preparation as opposed to taking some action because we want to know what the end result is going to absolutely be. And there's no way to know that. There's no way. It's going to be so much better than we can imagine anyway. And that was what Lori said. Yeah. All right. Anybody else?
I just would like to share a story. I keep thinking, no, I won't do it. I won't do it. And it keeps coming up. So yesterday I was praying before my day began, and I'm visiting. So I had a long-term rental. I had to drive a car to the airport, then get a taxi back, and then go to Enterprise, pick up another car, and then I'll have that for a month. And I'm here with my daughter. So she's a teenager and she cares about the car. And her main car choice was a Jeep Wrangler. And of course, because we're here from Virginia and we're in Scottsdale, so of course she wants a Jeep Wrangler. And I thought to myself, I just want this to be smooth. I want to be able to just go across town and meet nice people and have a harmonious time. It was really where I was at. And the Jeep popped in my head, and I said very quickly to myself, I thought, oh, that would be great if we had the Jeep, a white Jeep, because she likes this. And I caught myself making some excuse or getting in the way of the wish. And, oh, it doesn't matter. And I thought, yeah, it does matter. It matters because my daughter really wants to be in a Jeep Wrangler. And I started laughing and I claimed it. And I was like, we're going to have that Jeep Wrangler. And I moved on. And about an hour and a half later, I find myself at the Enterprise station. They do not have a car that I specifically asked for, but they had a Jeep Wrangler for us. And so I'm laughing and laughing. It's white.
Of course it is.
And the license plate says Sue, which is our nickname for her. And anyway, it just taught me, and it always does teach, to get out of your own way and don't think it's silly or frivolous.
Mhm.
And if you want it, you can have it by divine right. And it can be a Jeep Wrangler.
Good for you. Great story. Thank you for sharing that. That is a great story. And it's so true. And thank goodness you caught yourself in the denial. We do that all to ourselves all the time. Catch that denial and go, oh, no, no, no. All right. Thank you all for playing this morning. That's always a lot of fun for me. I hope it is for you. I know it's different from our usual service, but it is sometimes good to shake it up and just have more of a conversation. So let us do our prayer, and then we'll go into our offering and then go to lunch. Okay. So how good it is that we can come together in this community and have these conversations where we open our hearts and our minds and we share. We share how Spirit has been active in our lives. We share how we've learned through our own actions. We self-correct, we self-discover, and we continue on our journey of expansion and upward spiral of life, of love, of peace, of wholeness. I bless each of us that has come here today, each that has shared. Those who have not shared and had thoughts in their minds, we know that we share those thoughts with them, for we're all one, connected in this one mind. I bless each and every one of us this week as we move forward out into the world, knowing that we make a difference, each and every one of us, just our very presence and shining our light brightly. I know for anyone that has anything on their heart today that they are seeking prayer or treatment around, a change in circumstance or situation, a manifestation of a good, a healing, a health challenge, whatever it might be, information, whatever the need, we just gently lift that into the consciousness of this prayer and collectively know the truth of the wholeness, the truth of the manifestation. And so it is with great gratitude and thanksgiving that I release this prayer into the action and activity of law, knowing that it is already done. And we affirm this truth together by saying, and so it is.